こちらは前回のエピソードの続きです。
タブーのところは何かっていうのはね、軽くは聞きたいなとは思ってるんですけど、一旦ね、締めくくりとして、そう、大阪では OK ですよっていうオチにまあしましたけれども、そう、general term ってね、言ってましたけど、大きななんかテーマという形であれば、やっぱ比較的お金の話でも、こう、海外でも、アメリカの場合でも、あるいはね、大阪の場合でも、あるいは東京の場合でも OK なのかなっていうところですけど、やっぱ、how much, how much, how much っていうのは、やっぱりちょっと聞きすぎだよねと。でもやっぱり大阪はいくらこれいくらっていうのは確かにいろんなところで聞くなとはやっぱ思うから、だからこそ、あながち間違いではないんでしょうね。大阪人はすぐ値段聞くとかお金の話するっていうのは間違いではないのかもしれません。ただ本当に誤解してほしくないのは、ほんまみんなで会って、家賃いくらなんとか、そんなテレビで報道されてるほど、まあ僕の地域っていうのももしかしたらあるんかもなんですけど、そんなないですからね、と言っていたところ、あ、そうや、思い出したと思って、僕のその本業のスクールでね、全国から受けていただいているので、いろんな地域の方とね、お話しさせていただくんですよ。で、なんかそういう地域柄のお話になった時に、そうたさん、一個質問あるんですけどいいですかって聞かれて、こう、お医者さんの方なんですけどね、その方が、大阪って人に給料聞くのって本当にやっぱ日常でもあるんですかって聞かれて、いや、聞かないですけどねっていう、まあ、さっき言ってたような会話をしてたんですよ。そしたらその方が、いや、私の患者さんでね、その診察の時に、先生めっちゃ儲けてはんねやろ。いくら儲けてんのって聞かれたって言うてはって、やっぱり大阪人はそういう人は、比率は高いのかなっていうのはやっぱ思いますよね。うん、でも、みんながみんなそうではないっていうのはちょっと知っていただきたいなと。でもなんか今、そう、最後思い出してたのが、仕事の話も、やっぱり聞かない人は聞かないし、わきまえてる人は絶対わきまえてると思うんですけど、お店とかもそうですよね。こう、絶対美容室行きましたとかね、そういうお店でもわきまえてる人はわきまえてると絶対聞かないんですけど、聞く人は聞くと思うんですよね。もしかしたらそれが大阪では頻度が多いのかどうかはわかんないんですけど、まあ東京でもね、他の地域でもあるのかもですけど、まああるいはライリが言ってたジェネラルタームだったら、大きなテーマ、ここら辺高いの家賃高いのとかだったらまだ OK なんじゃないかっていう。僕はなんか東京も、まあ東京でもここら辺高いよねとかはあるかもですけど、あんま踏み込まないよなっていうのはちょっとありますよねっていうのはすごい感じますよね。あるいはやっぱり言わないっていうのはすごい東京の友達とかも言うのでね。で、もう一個思い出したのが、someone living in my apartment asked me, like,
In sorry, in your apartment building, right? In your building. Someone living in your apartment is
not
kind
in
of
my apartment.
scary.
Not in my apartment. Yes. Yeah, living in my apartment building asked me, like, who was that? Uh, I try not to say anything about my job, and then yeah, we're all kind of friends, acquaintance, and then
Hmm.
um, I try not to go too far, but they are close. But I'm not so close to them, but they are close. So
Gotcha.
one family like asked me about my job, and then
Hmm.
I said, "Oh, I'm doing something related to like education." And then they kept asking a question like, "Oh, what kind of education?" And then yeah, I said it's related to like English lessons or something. Then
Mm.
that family told about my job to another neighbor, and
Mm.
then she suddenly lined me in the group. We were connected in the group, not
Okay.
personally. Then she suddenly lined me saying, "How much is your monthly salary?" She said, "Because my boyfriend is from America and he is looking for a job. So and especially I heard your job is kind of related to online. So I
Mm.
want to know how much you can
Oh
earn
no.
online."
Competition. I have competition.
What do you mean?
No, just a foreigner asking you for a
Uh,
job.
yeah. And then like how much is your salary like if you do that online? Then I felt it's kind of so rude. And yeah, what do you think in this case?
Ah, yeah, I think I don't know. If you're not super close, then I
Mm,
think that's a little bit rude. But if hmm,
Because I would probably ask someone that,
Oh, really? Mm.
yeah, I think I would if I knew them well, right? I don't know how well exactly you know this person, just an acquaintance is maybe a little bit borderline, but like, yeah, if I had, oh, my friend is thinking about uh coming into Japan, or my friend is thinking about going into that business or that industry. How much can you
Mm.
make, or how much? I feel like it's you it's almost always rude unless you're very close friends to say how much do you make, right?
Mm.
But I think it might be okay to say like, oh, how much can you make at that kind of job?
Mm.
Like for her boyfriend or husband or whatever it was, like um he's coming from America and he wants to get into like online English teaching or something. How much could he expect to make? Like it
Mm.
something like that might be okay, I feel.
Mm. Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, I really understand that. But we were not really close. And also, yeah, you don't know her character, and everyone doesn't know her character. But
Sure, sure.
I felt like she is trying to, ask the question and try to know about that, having that kind of excuse. And also, perhaps she wanted to say that, oh, I have an American boyfriend or something. I don't know.
Mm,
But she's that kind of person. So yeah, what I wanted to say was that I said in Osaka, some people, or most people don't ask that kind of question. But yeah, that's also true that we have relatively more people who ask that kind of question in Osaka. So in that way, that can be
mm,
acceptable. And at the same time, yeah, as I said, my parents told me not to do that because sometimes ladies try to ask their friends' husbands' jobs. And then, yeah, that's a kind of, you know, that's kind of what we have in Japan. Girls, yeah, again, I don't want to say all girls do that, but people want to avoid, especially ladies want to avoid that kind of conversations, like asking the partner's jobs. But in
mhm.
America, do you have that kind of idea or feeling?
I think asking what do you do or what does your husband do is pretty common, pretty acceptable.
Oh,
Yeah, I think going that far is okay. Like I said, if you're friends with someone, even just kind of friends, and you don't know their job, I think that would be kind of weird. Um, but yeah, asking their salary is too far.
Yeah. So I remember I was surprised when I got to know the phrase, "What do you do?" Because in
Mm,
Japan, we don't ask that kind of question. So, oh,
right.
yeah, in English, oh, there is such a phrase. I remember I was surprised. And then, yeah, Americans or Western people are kind of open about everything. So, no 本音と建前. But Japanese people sometimes have 本音と建前. So
So, yeah,
yeah, we're feeling sometimes scared to be asked that kind of question. Oh, what does she want to know? Or does she want to talk about this with other friends or something? So that perhaps that's our feelings, Japanese people's feelings,
yeah.
but we have that kind of feeling when we have that kind of conversation.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I get that.
mm,
But
mm.
and I feel like maybe that used to be the case in the US. Like
Oh, really? Mm,
I think a lot of these things, in fact, I looked up the expression politics, religion, money,
mm,
like and a lot of times if you Google things in English, like an actual question,
mm,
then one of the results will be Reddit. Reddit is this kind of like website where people can ask questions and discuss them, kind of like a forum or something like that.
mm, mm,
Um, but and in Reddit they have each they're called subreddits. They're kind of like channels where you can talk about different topics, right?
mm, mm.
So when I said politics, religion, money, the subreddit that came up was called Ask Old People. So like this kind of thing, this topic of like, oh, what are you not allowed to talk about? That's an people think. Like it maybe used to be that you're not supposed to talk about politics, religion, or money back in the day, you know? But nowadays, I don't think it's so much of an issue.
Okay, then yeah, so quickly, we need to share what kind of topics we should avoid, like taboo topics, for people who want to go abroad or who want to have communication with people from other countries. So, overall, job fine, and money fine, but not how much. Can you?
Yeah, not specifics. Um, I think politics are, I think if you go abroad and if you talk with people, you know, they almost definitely will talk about politics, right? I think the difficult thing as a Japanese person is kind of probably understanding how to talk about politics, right? Because you're probably not supposed to ask like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" or whatever. You know, like you're not supposed to ask maybe like specific questions, but people will probably say, "Oh, you know, Trump is doing this and this," or "Oh, the tariffs," or you know, blah blah blah. You know, people in the UK might talk about uh reform is the kind of almost Trumpy party in the UK now and whatever.
Trumpy.
Yeah. But these kind of things, people probably will talk about it, but I think it's difficult to understand how to talk about it. Like it's kind of like money, right? You're not supposed to say how much. So like with politics, you're probably not supposed to ask, what do you think about this? You know, like if you ask the person specifically, like I guess personal questions, maybe that's the line.
Okay, what about religions? In Japan, we shouldn't talk about it, but in America, that should be fine. In other countries too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's more or less okay to ask, well, I don't actually know how you would do this. What religion are you? Sounds kind of weird. Like, what do you believe in? Sounds kind of weird. But it's not so rare for someone, you know, to say, "Oh, I don't eat pork, I'm Muslim, or I'm Jewish," or something like that.
Or like, are you religious? That's fine, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Although, yeah, as I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, sometimes it's kind of like, yeah, Japanese people always say no. Right. But yeah, if you ask an American that, are you religious? They might think, oh, like, you know, I go to church every week or whatever. But yeah, some people like Muslims or Jewish people, for example, they might not really be religious, but they follow the rules. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think there's still some taboo. People will talk about it a little bit, but yeah, you don't actually ask someone like, "What are your beliefs?" Like,
Okay, then other than the points we mentioned, can you come up with other things? Like quickly, can you share if you have?
I mean, I was thinking about this that like uh you know, politics, religion, money, and also sex, right? People also probably don't talk about sex. That would be like kind of that's definitely a taboo too. I, yeah, especially personal questions about it is like I think it depends on the friend group. Like I said, you know, oh, money among friends, maybe it's okay to talk about money a little bit, or politics, you know, among friends, talking about politics is pretty common. Religion, you know, if you know somebody, you can probably talk a little bit about that. But even among friends, talking about like the specifics of sex, you know, like I don't know, like it's funny because it's a taboo, right? I guess I'm laughing because I'm not really supposed to say this kind of stuff, or it's difficult for me to imagine saying it. But you know, if you ask somebody like, you know, do you and your girlfriend have sex, or like how much do you have sex, or something like that, that is pretty rude, I think. Like
Yeah.
maybe super, super close friends could talk about it, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing before. Like, don't get me wrong, but Americans are kind of pretty open about everything for me. But
Mm,
even for them, I feel like that's kind of taboo thing to talk about sex. And then I don't see Americans, talking a lot about sex. So now it makes
mm.
sense. Mm,
Yeah, I feel
mm,
like that's a taboo. I think maybe in Europe they might be a little bit more open to talking about it
oh.
than Americans are. I get that kind of mm, stereotype, but
Mm,
sorry. In in America, like among my friends, right, recently because of all these babies,
mm,
we've been talking about sex a little bit more because, to make a baby,
oh,
you need to have sex, right? So we've been talking about the kind of the process of getting
mm,
pregnant, I guess, right?
mm,
A little bit, like, oh, how long did you guys try or something like that, or that
mm,
kind of thing we've been talking a little bit about. But before that, when nobody was trying to have kids,
mm,
it, talking about sex was like a little bit taboo.
mm,
You can talk about sex as a concept, right? Like
mm.
you can talk about
As a
other
cause.
people. You could talk about like other people having sex,
Mm,
or
mhm,
when I was, in college or whatever. You can tell those kind of like stories,
mm,
sure. But if you talk like again, kind of the same with all these topics, if you make it personal, like you and your girlfriend, you and your
mm,
boyfriend, like how much
mm,
sex do you have?
mm, mm.
That's no, that's too far, I
Make
think.
sense.確かに。それも僕ね、アメリカ人って比較的いろいろオープンだな、何事に対してもオープンで言うなと思いつつも、自分たちのセックスのこととかって意外と日常もそうだし、そんな言わないよなって思ってたことがあって、そこも確かにって、まあ当たり前のことではあるんですけど、ね、なんか性的なところっていうのはやっぱ触れない方がいいっていうことですよね。なのでそう、最後まとめた方がいいなと思って、やっぱりこう、ね、今日の会話から、タブーな感覚っていうものをちょっと皆さんの方でキャッチしていただけていたらなと思いながら話してたんですけど、日本の中でもちょっと地域によってね、ここまでは OK だけどここまでは違うとか、同じ地域の中でも人によってここまではするけどこうしない人もいるみたいなね。それが世界規模になった時に、私はどれを話してどこまで話さないとかっていうのをね、感じていただけたらなと思ってたんですけど、まあ一応まとめるならば、やっぱり宗教のお話、政治のお話、そしてお金のお話、まあ最後性的なお話っていうのが出てきましたよね。でも、ライリーの解釈としては、違う違う。宗教はまあ聞き方とか、そのね、話してもいい状況もあると思うけど、聞き方とかにもよるよねっていう、政治のお話もですよね。なので政治も一応タブーなんだけれども、みんな結構話す。で、宗教も、まあ別に聞くのも OK じゃない。聞き方とかは注意しないといけないけれどもと。で、お金も、まあ仲いい人同士だったら、まあ話すかなと。まあただ、性的なことに関しては、基本、やっぱ仲いい人同士でもなかなか話さないよねっていうお話だったので、そう、ここが今日のポイントだったのかなと。あともう一個思いついたのは、あれですね。University in Japan.
Hmm.
That's kind of, yeah, getting common now, but that
What
was
like
not,
what school did you go to?
yeah,
Something like that?
yeah, like
Oh.
which university did you graduate from or, for me, that's fine, totally fine, but we feel like we shouldn't ask that kind of question. Maybe this is related to what I said, like 本音と建前 thing. Some people try to know for another reason, like how much they earn or which school her husband graduated from, and then yeah, they I don't know why, but we feel like we shouldn't ask that kind of question.
Mm.
Maybe related to Honeta and Tatemae thing. Yeah, for example, when Americans ask that kind of question, they just um, get it at the moment and then maybe they forget or they don't, do some research about it or something. But
Okay.
Japanese people sometimes, yeah, go too far or go too much or, talk about that with somebody else. Maybe we're afraid of that kind of thing, maybe.
It's kind of funny because yeah, the way you just said it, it's like Yeah, okay, it's okay for Americans to talk about. Americans might ask the question, but they don't really care.
うんうんうん
Like
うん
they don't care that
う
much
んうん
about
う
it.
ん
Japanese
in a
people,
positive way, yeah. うん
yeah, Japanese people don't ask, but they care.
Yeah,
They-
that's true. That's so true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
そう、そこ
You
な
know,
んよ。うん。そう、最後、ごめんなさい、長くなって、シェアしておきたいなと思ったのが、思い出したのが、学校とか大学とかも聞いちゃダメみたいな雰囲気って日本ではありますよね。でもなんか、僕はもう、英語でこうやっていろんな国の人と話してるので、もう、どこの大学行ってたみたいなのは、なんかもう、海外は普通なので、普通に聞いちゃうなっていう感覚になってるんですけど、日本ではやっぱ、どこの大学を卒業した、どこ行ってたっていうのは、そこまでは聞かないっていう感覚はあるなと。なので、そう、大阪でもやっぱり僕の周りとか僕たちは結構聞かないなと思います。その、どこの大学やったのみたいな。もちろん仲いい人とかは別ですけどね。で、これがなんでなんやろうって僕、もう一個やっぱ考えてたんですけど、さっきね、訳し忘れてたのもあるんですけど、同じマンションの人がね、そんなに仲良くないんですけど、一応まあ表面的に、お隣さん、ご飯作ってくれるお隣さん以外は、まあ表面的にうまく繋がってるんですけど、ちょっと厄介な人たちなんですよね。すぐ噂話したり、they love gossiping、で、悪口言ったりっていうのが好きな人たちだなと思ってるので、LINE とかでもずっと悪口言ってたりするので、僕はちょっとそういうのには入らないっていうふうにしてるので、いらんこと言わないって決めてるので、当たり障りなく関わってるんですけど、突然、その一人から個別 LINE が来て、グループでしか繋がってなかったんですけど、アメリカ人の彼氏がいるんですけど、ソータさんって給料いくらなんですかって聞かれて、アメリカ人の彼氏がオンラインの仕事をしたらいくらかな、稼げるのかなと思ってみたいな。なんか、一個は、ごめんなさいね。その背景を知らないから、僕は性格悪い人に聞こえちゃうかもですけど、アメリカ人彼氏できたってまずなんか自慢したいのかなと思っちゃったんですよね。なんか日頃の言動とかから見てると結構自慢したがりの人で、それはまず言いたいんだろうなって僕は思っちゃったのと、給料をここで聞きますかみたいな、そんな仲良くないのにいきなり聞いてくるんだっていう。でもなんか聞き出したいんだろうなっていうのもあって。そう。で、よく、旦那さんの給料いくら旦那さんお仕事何してるのみたいな。これ日本人にしかわかんない感覚だと思うんですけど、ああいう会話が嫌な感じってあると思うんですよ。なので、そういうのに聞かない、そういう人になりたくないと思ってる人は聞かないようにしたり、避けるようにしてると思うんですよね。でもなんか、外国人が聞いてるのって、なんか僕はわかる、許せる、受け入れられると思うんですけど、これが何の感覚なんだろうってさっきから話してて思ってたんですけど、一個たどり着いたのは、なんか本音と建前で、裏がある感じがするのが僕たちは嫌なんじゃないかなっていう個人的見解ですよ。なんかこの感覚わかりません？そう、なんか聞いてこの情報を使ってなんか調べるんじゃないかなとか、他の人に言うんじゃないかなみたいな、なんかそういうのがあるがゆえに、大学とか仕事とかお金とかは僕たちはわきまえてる人は聞かないように、あるいは聞かれたらそういうのは避けるようにしようみたいな感覚はあるのかなと僕は分析しました。でもなんか海外の人って聞いたら、そうなんだ、いいねとかって言ってもう終わってそうですよね。なんかそこから広がっていかない感じがするので、なんか聞き方とかね、その種類っていうのもちょっと違うのかなと思いました。ただ、比較的大阪ではそれはアクセプタボーです。今日のエピソードはい
かがでしたでしょうか？
かがでしたでしょうか。2回目ですが、ちょっとすいません、長くなりましたが、そう、なんか面白い会話だったなと思いました。最後広がりましたよね。でも比較的やっぱり大阪は結構オープンなのと、僕も聞かれてそんな聞き方とかね、人によってはですけど、嫌じゃないなとか、結構みんなやっぱね、オープンにしてるなっていう部分はあるので、大阪人はアメリカ人は大阪人なのかなと思いつつも、まあ、世界に行った時、あるいは日本の方がね、海外に行った時、海外の方が日本に来られた時、何を話して、何を話さないのか、あるいはどう聞くのかっていうところは、これを機に僕も含め一緒に考えれたらなと思います。僕は英語の外で調べていただくと、YouTube とか Twitter とかインスタとかいろいろ出てきます。インスタストーリーメインの更新にはなってますけれども、Riley は Riley サルマ XD で調べていただくと出てきます。So, there's nothing to share? No taboo topic?
Other than that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's all I can think of. I think we've gone long enough.
Yes. Nothing.
Nothing. That's it.
And no private taboo talk. Like, don't ask me this kind of taboo question.
I think me personally, I'm pretty open. I
Aw.
don't really have taboo topics. You can talk. I like talking about everything actually.
なるほど、なるほど。ライリーになった時は皆さん自由に何でも話してください。タブーなしということでした。ではまた次回のエピソードでお会いしましょう。バイ。
Bye.